lights off.
Well, hello. It's Monday. I'm Mover. And once again, we have a special guest. And this time, it's another A-10 pilot. But he's also flown a lot of other stuff, too, which we'll talk about here on the stream. I see the chat. I hope everybody is having a great Monday. I hope you can hear me, too, because it's always something wrong with the stream. But without further ado, I would like to introduce Skid Marks, who is a fine American. The only person to hire me twice. So, Skid, welcome. You've had a great career, and we're looking forward to hearing all about it. How are you doing? I love the mustache, and I love the Folds of Honor shirt.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Doing a great tonight in this great country, and just proud to be here with you tonight in this august group of people who want to be fighter pilots, are fighter pilots, love the environment, and if I can answer any questions tonight about what I did to get there, which I'm the bottom rung of the ladder for people, I want to help. So awesome. That's the key tonight.
Let's get started. How did you get into aviation, man? What kicked off that fire?
Okay, so I was a son of a naval officer from World War II, tail end Charlie of a great my lovely family, and I started desiring. I mean, for some reason, at a young age, I started wanting to fly and look at airplanes and go to air shows. My dad took me to my first air show when I was a young kid, and I fell in love. You know, the Thunderbirds were there in the 38. The Army team, the A-10 was there. I was like a kid in a candy store, and it was just, I was bitten. I was bitten by the bug. So from there, I just set my sights on trying to become a fighter pilot. Initially, just wanted to be a pilot, and then as I got to talk to people and get mentors in my life, I started developing. Hey, I think I really want to be a fighter pilot. I did the ROTC route through college, and I got to do some really cool things. I had my first Viper ride at a hill as a cadet, and that just blew me away, literally. 400, 500 miles an hour at 100 feet in the desert of Utah. I go, where do I sign up? And that was an ROTC. So I just did the best as everyone asks, how do you get a pilot slot? You got to do well in school, buddy. You got to just do the best you can, get the good grades. Obviously, you got to take all the testing, the AFOQT, the testing to get qualified. But the key is to put your best foot forward. Do the best you can and show them what you want to be. Obviously, if you're just haphazardly, hey, I think I want to do this, they'll screen you out pretty quick. You got to have a real burning desire to do it. And once they give you those opportunities, man, you got to take the ball and run. So I was very, very, very fortunate to have all these great mentors in my life and people bump steer me. So ROTC went very well. I got my pilot slot, graduated from Central Florida in 1985, a few years ago, and I got to go to Willie Air Force Base out in Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona, and that was the best year of your life, the worst year of your life of pilot training. But Arizona was awesome, and I was you do the best you can every day on daily rides. Everyone asks how do you get a fighter position or in pilot training. It's daily performance, your daily grades, how you do, and then your check rides. So, check rides are check rides, and you just try and get through them without any bumps or hits. Own your mistakes. So if you do have a setback, you can't get down on yourself. You got to just, pick yourself up, dust yourself off, go forward. So I had that attitude through pilot training. I wasn't, ace of the base, but I was very fortunate at the end of pilot training, I got an A-10. To Europe, to Bentwaters, and I was just over the moon because I'm going to go where I'm going. I'm going to go to USAFE and fly A-10 Warthogs against the Soviet Union, the Cold War, and in England too. The whole lore of England, the Battle of Britain, just incredible. So I got the A-10 Warthog, went down to Tucson, trained out in the A-10 Warthog, then went over to England for 3 years. I was a Skull, a 92nd TFS Skull. We were a great squadron, good people, and we flew missions in support of potentially the Fulda Gap. The Soviet Union coming to the Fulda Gap, but obviously nothing happened with that. We defeated the Soviet Union without firing a shot. Uh, and then a little thing called Desert Storm kicked off, and I was like 2 weeks from deploying with another squadron, and then they canceled us, so I did not get to go play in the war. So we were all drinking our beer in Germany. We were very bitter. Happy for the bros. I got to use the A-10 and employ all the guys that wrote into us and said, it works. The training works. That's the most important thing. The training does work. So after that, I went to Columbus Air Force Base as a T-37 instructor pilot, primary. Now it's the T-6, Texan 2. And I had 3 years there, and the tweet, for all its misgivings, whatever, it was a fun little plane, much more fun as an IP than as a student. And I flew my buns off, so to speak. And you went out training students, maybe a couple a day. Sometimes you got to go CT by yourself, solo continuation training. And just it was, if you love flying, it was great. Here's the keys to a jet. Go fly. And very proud to see the students go through, starting off from us as young nuggets or young fledgling aviators, and then go across the street to the T-38s, and then eventually they become graduate and get their wings. You go to UP, you go to graduation, and these students haven't seen you in 6 months because they've been down the street, and you look at them and go, "Yep, we helped get them through there," and it makes you so proud as an instructor to see your students do well and go on to their assignments. So after 3 years there, I went to I picked out or selected the F-117 stealth fighter. The whole metric had changed with the 117. They had come out of the dark world, the black ops, if you will, out of Tonopah, and they moved them to Holloman Air Force Base in New Mexico, Alamogordo, New Mexico. So at that point, it was more of a normalized assignment process where you volunteered. So I had a buddy who was in the 117. He said, "Skid, come out here and take a look." I went out and I did a chase sortie in one of the 38s that we have, at Eglin, and chased a 117 sortie. And I was like, I'm flying off the wing of a 117. Like, this is damn cool. And I volunteered, put my name in the hat, and got selected through the normal process. And then I got to spend 3 years in the 117 out at Holloman. So that was quite fun. A lot of neat jet. Very cool technology. There's a big picture of it behind me, or sorry, there you go. And I'm proud to say I'm Bandit 448 out of the 117 community. I'm Bandit. I'm the 448th Bandit. So I think in all there's 700, maybe 690, 700. I can't remember the exact number when they retired them. But I was so proud to get my Bandit number and become part of that community there. So I spent 3 years at Holloman Air Force Base flying the Black Jet, and then they needed pilots to stay in because a lot of pilots were getting out. I volunteered, went to Osan as an A-10 FAC for 1 year, a remote tour, and that was really cool. So now I'm flying in Korea at Osan Air Base, just a few miles south of the DMZ, and obviously there, who's up there in the north, and it was a real deal. It was a real deal there. So I was very impressed. I really enjoyed that assignment. I was a FAC, OA-10 FAC, so I got to go up against the DMZ border, backing F5s, F-18 Hornets off the boat, F-4 Phantoms in combat simulation in case the North Koreas came south. And that year went really quick. Good. The 25th FS Assam Dragons, good dudes, Pilsung. And then after that year remote, I came back to Tucson to be an RTU instructor pilot in the Hog. And that was a lot of fun, teaching new guys to fly the Hog at DM. Great assignment, great weather, just hot. And then as life has it, I wanted to do other things in my life. So I was able to get out, find a civilian job, and I also got hired by the Air Guard in Pennsylvania. So now I'm doing the Guard and airline thing, Pennsylvania and Willow Grove. They're no longer A-10s now. I think they fly Predators now. But we were doing our duty for God and country when 9/11 occurred. And obviously that turned the world upside down. And I had to got furloughed from my job. So I basically was now looking for. I'm a part-time A-10 pilot looking for a full-time job after that point. And I was able, very, 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 very fortunate to get hired by the 47th Fighter Squadron at Barksdale Air Force Base, which you're familiar with. Again, it's a training squadron. Had some good buddies down there, and there were some positions open, so I immediately booked down there and shook hands. Bought some beverages, and I got the word a couple months later. I got the word, "Hey, you still want a job here?" I go, "Yeah, oh yeah." So I moved there, and we had a great career there. Loved being there. Great people, great jets. Just a good symmetry, if you will. And we were training students. We were doing mostly senior officer course and TX, recall guys. So not very hard to do. Not like a B courser who needs a lot of care and feeding. And then in 2010, we converted to combat operations, 2010, 2011. And then we deployed in the C model A-10 to Afghanistan in 2012. And then shortly thereafter, after that deployment went well, we got closed down. And then I found a job at Tyndall Air Force Base, if you're familiar. Yeah, Tyndall. Yeah. Again, kid in a candy store. Here I am, an A-10 guy for all these years. We don't do air-to-air very much. We do a little bit. We think we're gods, but we're not. Little G. And I get hired to be an adversary pilot, flying a T-38A against F-22 Raptors and F-35s. And granted, I was not the Steve Canyon, but the guys who trained me to be a 38 driver, the best. All those guys took care of me. They knew I was an A-10 guy. I didn't speak air, and they sat me down. They gave me the best training ever. And eventually, I got to finally meet out as a Red One mission commander. And I was like, yeah, this is fun. This is a bunch of fun. So again, every time I got to go fly a jet, I was like, I get to do this. They pay me to do this, and just never thought of it as work. And then obviously I retired here in 19 when my time finally meted out. Even though my body was starting to say no, my brain said yes, but it was time to move on with other things in life. But I've been blessed in my career in aviation. So lucky, I call it the Forrest Gump effect, just the right time, right place. Not that smart, but, hey, well, you want to do this? Okay. And so for all your viewers who are gunning for fighter pilots or pilot jobs, keep at it. I know don't let them tell you no. Keep at it. Be polite. Be there. They want to make sure that you really want to do this. And if you're just showing up, they'll see that. They'll see through your smoke screen. So really try hard to, first of all, blanket all the units that you want to get hired by. Don't just apply to one unit and one unit only. You got to peanut butter spread it. And then don't turn down active duty. I see a lot of guys on your chat, I understand Guard and Reserve. Oh, yeah, the best job ever. Do not turn down active duty pilot slots. You can be a F-22, F-35 pilot, A-10 pilot, and you'll have to serve 10 years. Oh, me, oh, my. But you'll get out of that, and guess where you're going after that 10 years? You're going to the Guard and Reserves. You're going to be the future leaders of the Guard and Reserve, like Reno, great guys like that. So, please, to all your youngins, don't just focus Guard and Reserve. Think about active duty. I know it's a 10-year commitment, and I think you'll get a lot of. I had 15 years active duty, and I really enjoyed a lot of it. Really did.
Yeah.
So,
well, let's talk about the first part of your career because we sped through the whole thing and there's just so much to dive in. You flew the A-10A in the height of the Cold War. What was it like and how did it compare to flying the A-10C later?
Okay. Yeah, I got to see the whole gamut in the A-10 world from the A-10A model when I got in it back in my day. All it had, we had the INS. We finally had an INS, which was drifted quite a bit. So you still had to be a very good pilotage, dead reckoning features. So you had a 1 to 250 map, a 1 to 50 map, and your INS might get you close, but you had to map ID where you were going in on your sortie to know your terrain. So in Germany, I had maps of all of Germany in case the Russians came across, Soviets came across, and I knew turn points like the back of my cranium, so to speak. And you flew with your maps. You kept them up to date religiously because that was your bread and butter. And if you got lost your map, you're useless pretty much. So the A-10, you got good at learning how to fly the A-10. Operated really good down low, 100 feet, 250. Just eyes out of the cockpit. And we had I had some buddies that got killed in low altitude mishaps, CFIT. But the A model was really cool. I got 3 years in A-10 before I left, and then I had a 6-year break, and then I ended up going to the A-10 in Korea after 6 years. And now they had computed bombing, LASTI, had a little autopilot on it. But the thing that made it really, really good was this computed gun sight, computed bombing. So now it's like I don't have to do all this math, thank God. And it's like a video game. You get to a right position, good parameter, and then you can employ and you can get really good scores. So I saw that evolution. So, and then of course I've been the A-10 been the A-10 straight since '97. And then so we had the A-10A, then the A-10 called A+. I flew that in Afghanistan in 2008 with the Skullbangers, and that was a modified A-10 with a color moving map display. And you had targeting pod, which could tie into that. So yeah, that was the next evolution between the A and the C model. So it was nice to have that bridge. So I didn't go right from a straight A-10A to a C model, which I heard a lot of guys had problems with because you had HOTAS, all the piccolo switches you had to worry about. So we did intense training. We got really good at it. And then so I got deployed in '08 with the Skullbangers and very impressed with the A model, C model, or A+ model. Never had to pull a map out because you had a digital map. So I could, fly to the different kill boxes, do the mission without having to pull a map out and where am I? So that was pretty cool. And then the C model really is a cool jet with the multi-displays. It's got the integrated 1553 data bus. And now it has the eyepiece, which is killer. You can look outside. You don't have to look inside now. You can look outside and see targets donated in your eyepiece. So I look outside and see something, put my cursor, my eyepiece on it, and just slew with a team switch, slew to it, and all your weapons go look at it. Your Maverick looks at it, your whatever, and all your queuing goes to that. So now it's even easier. So that helps. The most important thing that does, it helps prevent fratricide. My biggest fear in the A-10 was dropping on friendlies. And so thank God, thank you, Jesus. I never had a problem with that. So it's all about where the friendlies are at on the ground. How can I help you today? And doing your work for God and country, man.
Yeah. Did you have any, going all the way back, did you have any flight time or anything when you were in ROTC, or you just got it straight out of their first time was flying the T-37?
I had my pilot's license, so I started, flight training as a young kid. I was like 15, started taking lessons, and just it kind of dribbled along, money and like there in school and girls or chasing, whatever, doing things. And as I got closer to college, I flew more, and I finally got my license. I think when I was like either a freshman in college. So I had when I went to pilot training, I had maybe 60 to maybe 100 hours, I'm guessing, maybe, of 172, 152 time. So, because I just love flying. I love civilian flying. Just fun.
So in pilot training, did you have any issues or anything, or was it just, hey, did you get sick or anything?
I've been lucky, a mover. Never gotten air sick. I swear to God on oath, never got air sick in my life. I love flying. I love roller coasters. I don't know. I'm just a lucky guy. Some of my bros got sick. They had to do the Barney chair, do the head between the legs, eat bananas before you fly, that kind of stuff. Never had to do that. I was like, you had nerves. You go on a sortie, you're like, this guy's tough. But you just find ways to overcome it. You just try to think about happier things, I guess. But no, pilot training, they always say pilot training, is it good? Is it bad? Is it good? Is it bad? Everyone's getting washed out. No, everyone's graduating. Oh, everyone's washing out. We, in my class, if I recollect correctly, we had several people, basically SIE, quit because they really didn't want to be pilots. They came from the academy. it was kind of a forced situation for them, and they didn't want to be there, but they did it anyways. But they flew a little bit and they quit. Like, okay, I'm done. Like, what? You quit? I had guys that would kill for those pilot slots. But that's the way it goes. But so, I had some other good buddies who got washed out late in the game. Couldn't fly fingertip and the T-38 at 300 knots or whatever. Would have been a great C-17 pilot or a C-5 pilot. But at that time, they didn't have the two tracks. You went to 38, T-37, T-38s, and you graduated, and then you went off to your assignment. So that was sad to see. UPT next, or the next improved generation, I think really solved that problem with the T1 Jayhawk. And there are a lot of kids that they want to do. That's what they want to do. Go do it. Have fun. Enjoy it. Leave the fighters for me. I'll do the fighters.
Yeah.
So again, you got all these great websites and info, bogey dopes and stuff like that on the different programs. What is UPT like and the like there. The key is, once you get there, be a bro. Do not play I've got a secret. Cooperate, the old cooperate and graduate, and just help everyone out. Again, they're not going to, if you try and keep the hidden secret to yourself about how to do something, they're going to see that. They're going to see how you play, and they're going to probably put you in a corner. They might talk to you. They might read you the riot act, or they might just say, hey, we're going to let this guy just fail on his own. So be careful.
Yeah. Tell me about your first A-10 sortie, man. I always love asking A-10 guys because you are alone, and it's time to go, and then follow up with that, shooting the gun for the first time, because that's just awesome too. By the way, do you have a 30 millimeter? Everybody shows up. Exactly. Everybody always shows off the 30 millimeter.
Stand by. Clear dot. Talking about this right here?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is what goes out of the airplane. This stays in the airplane. America.
That's awesome.
America. There you go. Okay, so first A-10 sortie, you'll never forget that because your first ride is solo. Simulators back then were pretty archaic or anarchy or whatever. They were old, and they weren't very good. They wasn't like visible, nice visuals and all the things kids have today. It was basically just a link trainer with the little lights that came on to teach you how to do the EPs. There was no like cool visuals. So you went through your little training. You got your EPE to make sure you could handle emergency in the A-10. And then, you brief up your first ride and you go out to the airplane. The IP makes sure you start the engines correctly. You don't burn up a starter valve. Once that's done, he goes to his airplane while you're fumbling around for 20, 30 minutes, doing your flight control checks. And he's already strapped in, running. He's ready to taxi. And years later, I did that for my students. I beat them to the airplane. I beat them, they're still fumbling in the cockpit, and it's you got all the bells and whistles cooking. So it was surreal. They tell you, hey, have fun, enjoy it. And so we taxi out, and the airplane's bouncing because brakes are very sensitive, and like, dude, what are you doing? And he's behind you, of course. He's following you out. And there's Tucson, Arizona. And I remember, we get on the runway, and it goes, okay, you're cleared to go. And the A-10, not very fast, but it's fun. And so I get airborne, I put the gear up, I go, I got to land this thing. Oh, shit. Pardon my French. Oh, crap. And IP's chasing you. He's on your wing. And, he's bump steering you around. And I remember, after we took off, there was like a monsoon off the departure end of Tucson. So he's like, go on my wing. I'm like, what? You want me to fly off your wing now? And I'm trying to... A-10, it was awesome. Jack King was my IP. He's a Southwest captain now. Just a great man. Very easygoing. Very, just the right cup of tea for me. He was a good dude. So, I was like, wow, that is so cool. So years later, when I was an IP, and you take a kid out for his dollar ride or his first ride, it's so cool. It's so cool to see a kid doing. You know what they're doing. You know what they're going through. They're going to be opening the boards, put them down, open them up, put them down. Their power control will be all jacked up until you get used to it. You get into this, into the saddle. Overhead patterns. You're pacing your tempo. Speed brake, gear, flaps, pitch, airspeed. Well, what are you doing? Do this. And you're in the final turn with them, chasing around the final turn. Do this, do that. But the A-10 is a very easy airplane to fly. It's very forgiving. Where it'll get you is when if you get slow on final single engine, you can depart the airplane. It'll go out of control. You'll lose it. So you have to be careful. So a few things will get you, but the A-10 overall is a very great airplane. It's an easy airplane to fly.
Yeah. What was it like shooting the gun?
Incredible. Yeah, your first your first rides are all training rides. You go out to the airspace and you do stalls and falls and pitch outs and rejoins and okay, you have to make sure you can do approach work and ILS, PAR, TACAM. And then once you get your check ride done, your instrument check, now you get into the BFM or SA phase. They change it around every 6 years, 6 to 9 months. And for me, I believe I went and did the BFM or basic fighter maneuvers where you had to, you go out and do some 1v1 A-10. Like, okay, whatever. You're learning to fight the A-10. And then finally you go to, it's called SA-1. That's your first ride to the range. And you got your gun set. They brief you on how the picture, what you're going to see, and the IP's chasing you, and you're on final at the range. And, the ground's coming up. You see the big parachute target. And you set your pipper where you think it needs to go, and you squeeze that first burst off, and the smoke comes out the front. You're kind of startled by it, and in the airplane it's muffled because you're wearing your helmet and mask and stuff. You don't hear it like you do outside, and you hear that kind of husky, and then you're staring at the bullets and you're seeing them impact the target, and they got a foul line. You got to come on, pull off. Because you're down at 75 feet, 100 feet, 75 feet, 100 feet, 2,000 foot ceasefire. And you're just 2 seconds away from hitting the ground. So you got to be careful about that. But, I shoot the gun. I can't remember. I honestly can't remember how many hits I got, maybe 5 or how many bullets, I don't know, 5, 10. Like, it wasn't computed. It was manual strafe, like a P-1 Mustang. And I pull up, oh, God. And I'm on downwind. And the smell of gun gas comes up into the cockpit. I'm like, yes, this stuff is awesome. And the next thing you hear, and I don't know if your other buddies have talked about this, the gun clearing cycle in the A-10. So the A-10, the Mount Galway cannon is incredible. It has to cool itself after you shoot it. So it will automatically move the barrels to get cooling air down it. So you'll hear a big chunk. And goes right down between the old legs. You're like, what was that? Holy crap! No one told me about that. And the guy goes, yeah, that's just a gun clearing cycle. Okay, next pass. And you do 3 passes. So you got 2 more passes to get your scores. And it's just you're drooling. It's so good. And it's like everyone, you watch the videos. It's just like that. Now you got computed strafe. You go out to 2 miles, get good hits, high angle strafe, low angle strafe, 2-target long range. That's what the A-10 is all about, man. That big cannon is awesome. 70 rounds a second, 4,000 rounds a minute. Armor piercing, high explosive rounds. Come on, tanks. Love you. So you can tell I liked it. I really enjoyed it.
So how do you go from that awesomeness, and were you disappointed when you got tweets as an instructor? I mean, or was it an opportunity? Because you're a very positive guy. So how'd you go from like the A-10 to now I'm at pilot training, I don't get to do the cool stuff anymore, but making the best of it?
Yeah. Thanks, Mover. It was the end of the Cold. Okay, so I got to Bentwaters in 1988. The end of the Cold War. The wall came down in Europe, and so immediately, and Desert Storm, of course, occurred. And immediately, right after the Cold War ended, the DoD, the budget were cut. A lot of jobs were cut. Flying jobs were cut because they were closing units down. Hey, we don't need this big force anymore because the Soviets aren't a factor. So we're all biting our nails about getting follow-on assignments. And I was just kind of praying. You put your dream sheet in, you tell the boss what you want to do, and then it was just sort of a phone call. Hey, Skid, come see me. Oh, okay. And I walk in, and the boss says, "Hey, I got your assignment." What is it? And hey, you're going to be a tweet instructor pilot. Yay! Tweets. Yay! And the only thing I was, if you will, again, any flying assignment's a good assignment. And you don't be that negative Nancy who gets to a job oh, I don't like this place. I hate that. Just be the best you can, enjoy, have fun, whatever. Because I was worried, my fear was getting a tweet to Del Rio, Texas. Del Rio, Texas. Yeah, out in the middle of nowhere. So I was very fortunate to get Columbus Air Force Base, which is close to Atlanta, close to Birmingham, Tuscaloosa, um, and close to the southeast, where you get great cross country locations. I was going cross country almost every weekend before I got married, going to Florida, Tech, wherever I could go for the weekend, take a tweet out, take a student out. Just awesome. And, there's a little hops, of course, you're going slow and just teach the student how to be a good pilot. So, yeah, you take what they give you and you don't let them know you did. It's not, I get that. I don't want that assignment. Yes, you do. And, obviously you're committed. I signed a contract. So unless you're a free agent and you can get out and you got better offers, then do that. I saw that occasionally some guys would get really despondent about being a T-37 IP. I go, make the best of it, have fun. I flew my buns off. I got almost 1,000 hours on the tweet, just did every chance I could. Hey, here's a jet, go fly. Okay, free. I get paid. Yeah, here's jet fuel, go for it. So, awesome. But yeah, you take, and the other thing is mentorship. I get to mentor tweet IP FAPEs. I got to mentor tweet FAPE IPs who they just been IPs. They've never been out into the CAF. So, and they look up to you, and I try to be a good role model. And I'm a good dude. I'm not a douche or whatever, or whatever. I like doing what I'm doing. I love flying, and so I'd mentor guys as best I could. If they ever had a question about how was the lifestyle was like there. And obviously the primary training is influenced heavily by heavy drivers. I understand that, and they're they're great dudes as well. But that's their lifestyle. So unfortunately, a lot of these young kids who don't have maybe fighter pilot mentors get to pilot training, and now all their mentors are heavy guys. Hey, you want to be a heavy guy because you go to base ops and you go to get some beer, and you're not pulling G's, you don't hurt yourself. Like, that's a great lifestyle if that's what you want, buddy. But if you get into the fighter world and you like pulling G's, come on. It's fun.
Yeah. So you got out of that world and back into the A-10 in Korea. So, I mean, you are right back on the front lines of a war that may happen at any moment.
Well, actually, so from Columbus, I went to the 117,
Okay. Well then, yeah. Let's talk about that.
Come on, bro.
What was flying that thing like? I mean, geez, you're single seat again.
Yeah, and I hate being single seat. I hate it. I love flying with somebody in the back. Just kidding. I love the Wizzos. I love my bros. Maverick and Goose. So I was near the end. I got married. I was going to stay in. I took the Air Force bonus. The airline world was not hiring or firing. I don't know what they were doing. The economy was sucked. So here was the Air Force offered me a bonus and an F-117 stealth fighter to stay in. I go, okay. So I signed the extra time, 6 year. I forget how many extra years it was. My pilot training commitment was 6 years, I think. Now it's 10, I think, right? 10.
Yep.
So I definitely said, hey, I need to stay in. I got married. I need to provide for my family. And I drug them out to Alamogordo, New Mexico. Good time out there. Good, cool base. Holloman's cool. And so going from the T-37 flying at 110 knots on final to flying the F-117 at 160 knots on final plus gas was a little cool. It was really cool. I enjoyed it. Exactly. I mean, the 38 was companion trainer, so we flew those with the 117 to check guys out because you were solo. There was no two-seat 117s. So I got there in '94, and really, I mean, great program, good people. And so I began, your first ride in the 117 it's called a taxi ride. You used to do a hot taxi. You crank it because so many cool things in it. You crank it up and you taxi around with somebody chasing in a truck. Here's how you, it's cool. It's really cool. So you get used to the flow, how to operate it. So you spin it up, you get the engines going, taxi around. Like it's a big jet too. It's a big jet. And then of course, a day or so later, you do your 117 dollar ride. So you go out, your eyepiece on a 38, like the same 38s that we have at England. Same exact jets, 177. Yep, that was a chase aircraft. All of them were. And the 7th Fighter Squadron, the Bandits, Bunyaps. So I go out with my IP. I think it was, I can't remember my stealth IP. I think it was Cedar Contop. Good dude. So they take off. You get on the runway. The 38 takes off first. He just immediately pulls closed, and on downwind, he tells you 10 seconds. So in 10 seconds, you release brakes, you're taking off, and he rejoins you at 50 feet as you're rotating in the 38. And that's how they picked you up. They caught you, and they're following you out to the airspace on the training route. And you got a 38 with you, and you're just flying along your F-117. So I'm like, holy moly, really cool. All the bells and whistles and the autopilot features, really neat. So it was a lot going from the tweet to the 117, but I credit all the great instructors who gave me really good training. Hey, do this, hey, do that, and the importance of minding your piece of cue. You're by yourself in the 117. Obviously, it's a single ship mission. You're not going out there like as a 2-ship or 4-ship. You might take off as a cell, as a 2-ship or 3-ship, go to the tanker, get your gas, but then you're going on your own little routes to do your business that night. So, and so you're by yourself on your target. When you're on your route, you're by yourself. You're your own fighter guy. So you're trying to find your target in the middle of the night, with your 2,000-pound bombs, trying to strike a pinpoint target, at some great airspeed at night behind enemy lines. And that was the cool thing about that mission was if you missed your target, you were on CNN that next day, and that was not what you wanted to be. Because if you missed a target, it had severe international political problems. If you bomb the wrong target, and now you bomb the mosque or the baby milk farm or whatever target. Guess what? Who CNN's going to be looking at? You. And we had that issue, I think, in Desert Storm 2. Somebody dropped on a target in downtown Baghdad, and it turned out it was a bunch of civilians that were hiding in a bunker that was previously a target. But very, very bad, very sad. But at any rate, a cool airplane, highly automated. You were basically, I call it being a rated Wizzo, because the airplane's on autopilot. You hook up the system. It's fine, the airplane. You're the bombardier now. You're the Wizzo. And you're trying to find the target and do the targeting through the IRAD, so your infrared. And that was your whole life. And of course, once you got done, doing your targeting, doing your weapon, dropping bombs on the targets, then you flew it home. You might fly the airplane on on a typical sortie. If you flew it correctly, you might get 10 to 15 minutes of stick time.
Wow. How long is the total sortie? Like typical?
2.0, maybe 2.5, maybe, depending if you're doing AR, air refueling, or if you're doing some other mission, so maybe it requires longer. But the typical training missions of Holloman were around 2 hours, I think. So, you took off, you turned your autopilot on. Now the autopilot's flying the airplane. You're doing the targeting and just going around going around New Mexico, Texas, and you do your job, do your mission, do your targeting. You come back to Holloman, and then you paddle off your stuff to do an approach, or you could leave a coupled and do a coupled approach. The autopilot flying it. The only rule was you had to turn the autopilot off by 200 feet. It did not have auto landing.
Was it underpowered, overpowered?
Slightly underpowered at Holloman Air Force Base. Okay, so the F-117 has two F-404 non-afterburning engines, like the Hornet, right? Hornet F-404s, good engines, but no afterburner. They have the platypus in the back, which diffused your energy, so you lost thrusties there. So you had to be careful at high gross weights on takeoff. You had to have a lot of runway at 4,000 feet above sea level. So, you said to be mindful of your L over D max and make sure you stayed fast. The F-117, if you got below a certain airspeed on approach, you could go out of control, and it was dynamically unstable. So the airplane would do this, and you're done. You're not getting the airplane back. It's gone. It's done. if you want to review a video sometime later, do you recall the F-117 crash at the air show up in Martin State? Yeah, it was my good dude, BK Knight. It was an airplane I had flown to the depot to get repaired. And unfortunately, at depot, something didn't get put back in correctly. He was just pulling up on the air show and the wing came off. And you saw the airplane go out of control, right? So very fortunate he punched out, he was okay. But yeah, it was scary, really scary there. But the 117 otherwise was a very steady aircraft, flew like a rock. It wasn't wobbly or whatever they called it, the wobbly goblin. It wasn't that. It was bullshit, bull stuff. So just a really cool airplane, high tech, gee whiz, pinpoint bombing, but it wasn't the A-10, fangs out, down low, troops in contact. It was all very sterile, very sterile.
Yeah. Did you? I mean, was it a roomy cockpit?
Yes. Yeah. Pretty big cockpit. The neat thing about the 117 was it had F-16 flight control system A model, FLICUS. It had F-15 hydraulics, landing gear. It had we had a B-2 INS, which they got rid of finally after I left. It had F-18 engines, so everything was off the shelf to save some money. So if anyone's interested, you just read Skunk Works by Ben Rich. Great book about the 117 U-2 SR-71. And it tells you about all the cool things behind the airplane. But yeah, so you had a different system from every airplane in the fleet. Kind of cool.
Was that the Viper side stick?
No, right in the middle where it should be.
Like a Hornet. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
All right. Valid. Did you wear a G suit? I mean, was there a reason to wear a G suit?
Just made it look cool going out the airplane. Yeah, the most G's you pulled, if you did it right, was in the pattern. Come over up initially, you pitch out and like, oh, I pulled 3 G's, 4 G's. Yeah, you didn't want a mover. You did not want to scratch the paint on the 117. Don't scratch the paint. If you hurt the airplane, you did something dumb, you're going to be talking to the OG or the command colonel pretty quick. They're going to call you in and say, what were you doing on this sortie? And sorry, sir, you flew through a cloud today. What'd you do? Yeah, they're very concerned about the asset. Yeah, very concerned. So, and they got 117s out there flying in California now. Yeah, so you go do that job.
Probably don't want to talk about that. Although who knows what?
Hey, if they're flying in daylight, they don't care.
How many hours did you end up flying it?
I was lucky. I got 400, just over 400 hours in the 117, and a 3-year tour. That was pretty good. You got a plaque for 300.
Wow.
So 419.
Did you go cross country a lot in the 38?
Occasionally, I wasn't flying companion trainer then. I was chief of flight safety, but occasionally, I'd go to an air show where we get in one of the 38s that we have now, and you go to an air show or go do air show support. And that was fun too, doing air shows in the 117 because you had a little cool pass you do. You go back and forth, pull the power back to idle, the whisper mode.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah, it was fun, and then obviously you're the shiny penny at the air show on the ground. Everyone wants to touch the airplane. Don't touch the airplane. Don't touch the airplane.
For the love of God, don't touch the.
Do not touch the airplane.
Yeah.
The skin was ram.
Then you went back to the A-10, right?
Yeah. So my career I've been blessed, mover, all flying, no staff tours. Love those guys, love them to death. But that was not for me. I just wanted to be a pilot. And so as I ended my 117 tour, you start looking at what are my options? Goose, Maverick, what are my options, sir? And MPC wanted me to go to Korea in a staff job. I go, nah, I really don't want to volunteer for that. You can non-vol me, but I'm not going unless, it's again, non-vol. I want to fly. Give me an A-10, give me F-16. I'll fly. I want to go there and fly and be, operational. So eventually, finally, it's the last minute. They gave me an A-10 to Korea because a bunch of guys quit. So I was like, holy moly, I'm going to Korea. So with my wife's approval, I went remote for a year. You get to come home on mid-tour and you get some time off, but she came over to visit. And so there's for people who are worried about being away from their families, okay, they can travel, they can come see you. You're not like locked down. unless you're like in Afghanistan. But if you're in Germany or in Japan, go for it. Have fun. Enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. So like, we did tours in Korea, we came over and toured Seoul. We did the tour of Korea. Just it's a great culture, really neat people, and good times there, of course. Flying in the DMZ was incredible. Back in the A-10, I felt like, hey, I'm back on my home team. And the Hog, is just such a great airplane. I got checked out as a FAC, air FAC in Korea. So I was Misty 26 at your service. Welcome to my war. And the most important thing, you go after your check ride, you're cleared off, you're cleared to be a FAC. My first ride, solo by myself to go up to P518 is the protective zone, south of DMZ. So my first sortie, by myself. Okay, don't screw this up. Again, you'd be on CNN, and I get up there and I'm talking to some Korean FACs, and I go, Misty 26 checking in. You come by and fly over us. Like, okay, where are the threats? Where's the target? You make pass now. We did this for like 2 minutes, 5 minutes. And I said, okay, I just flew over him. You good pilot. You good pilot. It was just, international diplomacy. But you had the different, it was just fun. So, working with Vipers, working with the Koreans, South Korean Air Force, they're all good dudes, all good pilots. Just a lot of fun, good challenges. The weather over there can be iffy. You would drop down at Chicto, big island. You could drop lives down there. Obviously, the threat was real just north of us. We had, 60 miles between us and the bad guys. So it was real. It was real there, but never got, nothing kind of happened during my watch. If I was there just for a year, but it was always that possibility, right?
Yeah. Well, your first deployment was in OEF in
in '08. Yeah. So after all these years of always a bridesmaid, never a bride, I was there at Barksdale training, RTU, and one of the guys comes by and says, "Hey, we need volunteers to deploy with the Skullbangers and the Willow Grove guys, my old squadron, to Afghanistan." I go, talk to the wife. We had a heart to heart. I said, "Hey, I really want to do this. I think I want to do this to us. I want to get in the game." So I deployed in '08 with the Skullbangers. Great squadron. Good people. Good people. Your previous guest. I can see there's a lot of people who want to get in that unit because they're good people. They're good squadron, very well run, great maintenance. And Boise is a great location. Great location. So I went out there. Two of us deployed with the Skullbangers and treated us, just like one of the family. And so I finally, after all these years of being in training and practicing, I finally got to go into combat. And my second sortie, got to do the business of the A-10, and it was like surreal. Like all the training works, all the parameters, everything you train for every day, it just clicks. It just clicks. It's like once you get over the set, we're doing this. Okay, let's go to work. And you put your hard hat on, you do your business, help it's all about the guys on the ground, the 18-year-old with a gun. That's who it's all about. So the ADAIR guys love them to death, fight the fight, yay. But when it comes down to it, flying the A-10, supporting the ground troops it's just great. It's so rewarding. And, you go to air shows and the Army guy comes up, he goes, "You saved my life." What? I did? Yeah, back in Iraq or back here. I go, "Well, I don't think it was me, but I'll take a drink." And they buy you drinks out there. They love you because the Army loves the A-10. But it was very rewarding to finally, obviously I've been supporting my country the entire time, but to finally get into combat operations was good.
Was that the only deployment, or did you go back? You went back again when the unit converted, right?
Yeah, so unit converted to the C model A-10, and we deployed in 2012 to back to Bagram. So yeah, after '08 to 12, some things not much of change, a little bit of change, but same. You get over there, and things have changed a little bit on the ground. Dynamic, the political dynamic had changed, but we still did the mission. We supported the guys on the ground when they got called for fire, called for support. We're there. I remember one night taxiing out of the revetment, and it's for a night mission, overnight mission, and we get rocketed by 107 millimeter mortars that they had planted around Bagram, and nothing hit close to me, nothing like that, but it was on the airbase on Bagram. And they go, stop launch. I go, why? Why we stop launch? Let's go. Let's get out of here. Well, we got to check for UXOs. I go, you kidding me? Let's go. I was being the old, let's go, versus being, let's stop and see what's going on here. But it was still a very rewarding time. I'm glad I went with the 47th Fighter Squadron, the Terrible Turn of Termites. Good squadron, great squadron, good people all around. And they eventually moved out to Tucson, so they're out there running the schoolhouse now. But yeah, that was kind of our swan song right before we got closed down.
And that is a good segue because your Finney flight is probably one of the most anticlimactic. I mean, after all this, tell me about your Finney flight in the A-10.
Finney flight in the A-10 was taking them to Tucson. Very, kind of a sad day, beautiful weather. We hopped through Albuquerque, and yeah, you're just punking along there in your Mighty Hog there at 20,000 feet at maybe 250 or however much. But yeah, we're taking the airplanes to their new unit. The 47 was moving out there. I did not want to do that mission anymore. I was ready to try something different, the 38s. So I remember we landed. I landed there back at Davis-Monthan, the home of the A-10. Taxied in, and there were some of my old crew chiefs there from the A-10 demo days when I was an A-10 narrator for the air show team, and they're there waiting for me. Oh yeah, it was like, this is so cool, and everyone got a little older, a little chubbier, and I turned gave the keys to the jet to the kids there and said, take care of Daisy May 105, the best jet in the fleet. Oh yeah, bad to the bone. So, wow. Yeah, 4,000 hours plus. I was like, this has been fun, but I want to do something different.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're a narrator for the A-10 demo team?
Yeah, A-10 West. I was for about 2 years. I was an A-10 narrator. Air show, Abbotsford, Toronto. There was 3 of us as narrators. There was one demo pilot, T-Bone Lowry, and so we would go to the air shows with him. We'd fly the demo spare. And while he does his air show, you're on the microphone as, monster truck rally, reading the spiel, watch this. And 100,000 people at Abbotsford, you got the big microphone. You're like just rocking them. It was fun. It was so much fun. Good times. Canada was great. I love Canada. And California and little towns as well. You go to a little town like in Ohio, and you're the big fish in the pond, and they're just loving on you. And this is cool. It's like Fighter Pilot Love Week.
Did you fly a jet to every location?
Yeah, sometimes the other guy would fly the jet, and I would go in commercial. But typically, we went 2 shifts to the air show. So yeah, you come in, do an arrival, park the jets, and then the demo pilot did all the fancy demo piloting stuff there. So yeah, I was just a taxi pilot.
That's awesome. So
yeah.
Is your call sign just to play on your last name, or how did you get it?
Yeah, I'll be honest. As the day is long, skid marks was just we had a guy in my squadron in Europe, Chopper Bob Griffin. Hi Chopper Bob. He was the namer of our people in our squadron. And I walked in the squadron one day, walking down the hall, and skid, and I keep walking, skid marks, like Marks, and I turn around, you're skid marks, like I am, whatever. And the most important thing is, if you don't like your call sign, never let them know you don't like it. Because if you tell them you don't like it, guess what? It's going to be stuck on you forever.
Or worse. Or worse.
Yeah, or worse there. So I was like, yeah, I'm skid marks. Yeah.
Well, so you were one of the first at Tyndall to stand up the ADAIR mission. Tell me about the early days of the T-38 and kind of what you were doing when it was in its infancy.
Okay, so as the things are winding down at Barksdale, everyone's looking for jobs, like I know you are, and I'm cold. I'm calling different units. I almost had a T6 job to Shepherd. I think at one point, maybe go to Shepherd, fly T6s. But I really wanted to fly adversary air. I heard about this program of adversary air, and so I was using all my resources, trying to, hey, did you hear about this Tyndall program? I heard 38s were going to Tyndall. What year are they moving there and stuff? So I just used all my wherewithal, which wasn't very much, and got a hold of some people that said, yeah, they're going to put some reserve guys down there. I go, oh, really? So with the help of my group commander, JB, good man, he called people he knew in that field, and they basically invited me down for an interview down to down to Tyndall. So I drove down there, met up with the leadership that had just gotten there pretty much. This new program, we're going to have F-22 support. And it's like, wow. And we talked for a few minutes. We had our chat, about, hey, what do you want to do? What's your game plan? The funniest thing was not Hooter, the other guy, he goes, now, Skid, you can't get a Raptor out of this. I go, what? I can't be a Raptor pilot? Darn. Oh, man, I am so depressed. So, I guess, they thought I was going to try to look to get a Raptor slot. I go, no, I don't want to do that. So the other funny thing he said was, you ready to go fast again? I go, yes, sir. And so, again, here I am, the old new guy. The 38s are there flying, in-house training with Haas and those guys, good dudes. And just funny, being the old guy in the 38, going fast again, doing air-to-air and learning air-to-air lingo and shots and like, what's this? What's this PK miss stuff? And like, how's the missile work? All I know, the air-to-air missile, you push a button, it hits. It goes and hits. Kind of like a bomb. You drop a bomb, it hits. I learned now that missiles can fail, PK miss. So super. Here I'm flying fast again, 38s, having a great time, and I'm still mesmerized by being flying fast. I'm by myself, one sortie. It's a big bull in 470, and somehow I think I break. I have to taxi back and get my own jet, a new jet. So I spare out, and the whole group is down there, of course, in the south end of the airspace. So I'm trying to get there, and I light the burners, and I'm going, like, as soon as I get across the line, I'm going Mach 1.2, like watching my gas go down. And I look in the mirror, I turn the mirror, and I look in, and I go, I can't believe I'm doing this. They let me do this. I'm going skid. The 50-year-old guy is going Mach 1.1 or something into fight, and where are you at? I'm almost there. Get in there. I'm bingo fuel for one pass, and just like this is cool, man. This is again, it's kid in a candy store. It's just you get to do this for they pay you, yeah. Occasionally they pay you, maybe every couple of weeks, I think. Just fun.
Pass all ass, man. That's all it is.
Yeah, you got to run it. One day I think. Do you remember Ralph? Remember Ralph by chance? One of the students, the lieutenant guys. We come back. He's missing a gear door. He ripped it off at 600 knots. Yeah, he taxis in. Go, where's your gear door, man? He didn't even know. He never knew what happened to him. Just ripped off.
That's why we're having gear problems now. That explains a lot, actually.
I got lucky, as you remember the canopy incident.
Tell that story. I tell that story on every fam ride because I have to warn them. I'm like, listen. Make sure I'm still in the jet. Tell me that. You got to tell that story.
Okay, there I was, airspeed ideas. So it was a beautiful day at Tyndall Air Force Base, pre-Michael, of course, which is great. And we've got some Academy cadets that are flying with us. And so I've got this guy named Gonzalez. He's going to fly with me. So we have our big briefing, everyone's getting suited up. And I take the time to brief them out of my in-flight guide, okay, here's the brief between us. and I go over what if we lose a canopy in flight? And I cover that. Hey, you got this, and all the rules, and here's what's going to happen. So he goes, yeah, I understand, yes, sir. And so we go out, good kid, and we get strapped in. Everything. It's a beautiful day. Crank up, taxi out, and then my technique with fam riders, even though he's a cadet, Air Force cadet, don't trust him. I put my campy down so I can see them in my mirror. I watch him right before we take off. I watch him put his campy down. I see it kind of go down. I put mine down, lock, check, lights out. So he did it right. Okay, he's locked. He's good. We do the bump check. We're number 3. Gono is leading the group. I forget who 2 was. 4 was Vice. And we're taking off to fight the Raptors in 470. And 1, 2 go, 3 go, I go. And just as I get airborne, just barely breaking ground, the campy light flickers. I go, what was that? You touched something? Just a nanosecond flicker. It was barely like, whoa, did I really see that? So gears up, flaps up, engines are good. I start the departure turn out to go for the beach, and everything's good. Everything else is good. The lights out, the airplane's cooking. I'm going. Let's go. So cross the beach, climbing up inside the turn. We took off of runway 32. So we're taking off to the north. Now we're bending back around to the southeast. And I'm talking to the kid in the back about the rejoin. Here's 1, there's 2. I got the picture. Okay, I'm coming up for the rejoin. And then I look out of the corner of my eye, I can see the cabin pressure. The little peanut gauge, that cabin pressure gauge there, right on the right side. I see it starting to wheeze. I see it starting to kind of tickle or wheeze or move. Like, why is it doing that? We're passing 9,000 feet or so, 9,500 feet. And it's going up. I can see it's going up, so it's not pressurizing. And then just about the same time I see that, the red light comes on fully on the campy unlocked. This boom, full on, boom, steady. And I call 1, hey, 1-3. I got a campy unlocked light. I'm going back to Tyndall. And just as soon as I said that, my front camper just rips off. Holy crap, what happened? Wasn't me, was it? I didn't touch anything. Wasn't me, honest. The hatch just blew. And immediately, a lot of wind. Nothing came out of the cockpit. It wasn't like, maps and pubs and stuff. Everything was fine. I wasn't, my head wasn't in the airstream and all this thing here. So
that's how you lost your hair, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and hair club for men, buddy. So I pulled the power right back to idle. I started descending, and I just started yelling, in the intercom. I can hear him. I'm going, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" I don't know what happened back there. I thought maybe he'd done something. I don't know. Just for a second, I thought maybe he punched out. I have no fucking clue. No clue. Sorry, no clue. And he. I got 4-go chase. I basically yell in the radio because I can't hear anything right now, just wind noise. So once I got down, we're about 10,000 feet when that happened. Once I got down around 5,000 feet and I slowed the airplane down to below 250, I could start hearing better. Hey, you okay back there? Yeah, I'm okay. You okay? So we were all both okay. And hey, 4-3, what do you see? I started communicating with him. And, he's looking at me, doing the battle damage check. And luckily, the campy had gone over our tail. So, yeah, I don't do like a flight control check. I don't slow down and configure. Airplane's flying fine. I don't see any damage. I call the SOF, say, hey, SOF, lost my front canopy. Just coming back for a straight in. And he goes, okay. So he rolls the fire trucks, and I set up for a real long straight in and back to Tyndall, where they got some film of it. His cadet did. And, we just we auger back to, amble back to the airfield, and I'm on final. I get, gear down, flaps down, landing on the outside runway, and I see all the trucks out there on the alert, the fire trucks, and the kid in the back goes, "Sir, we got emergency ground egress?" I go, "No, we're not. We're going to taxi in like men." So a beautiful touchdown landing, in the zone, on speed. Whatever, aero brake, get the airplane down, pull off, and, there's the accoutrement of cars and police and fire trucks. And, we shut down. I go, wow, that was interesting. Campy came off because of some TO stuff not been done right. So in the back, so a maintenance issue. And just we got lucky that it didn't hit the airplane or cause greater damage. But right now there's a canopy out there in the water somewhere with Tone's name on it. Tone or Tally, I can't remember whose name was on it, but it was one of those Tones or Tallies or
Yeah.
Holworths. Yeah.
Well, and I'd heard that the cadet thought you ejected, and he had considered it as well.
I should have sent you a picture. He took a picture in the back seat. There's nothing in front. He can't see me at all for where he's sitting, and the red light's on. He didn't know. He was kind of clueless, and I was like I said, I'm yelling with him, "Are you okay?" So maybe I don't. If I recollect correctly, he did think about grabbing the handles and ejecting once because he didn't know what was going on up front. He had no clue.
Yeah.
So for goodness sakes, he decided against. I told him the one thing I told him to do is if I had to punch out, I said, if I punch out and you don't punch out, you're the aircraft commander. Don't land from the back seat. So I hope he's doing well. He probably, I lost touch with him. He was like a junior academy. So he was so fired up about being a fighter pilot after that. He goes, dude, I want to be a fighter pilot. That was so cool. That's the attitude you got to have. I mean, obviously there's dangers involved, but don't, and I know people have nerves, but just enjoy it, channel that energy and use it for your advantage there. That's why I've always been optimistic and outgoing. Like, I'm just happy to be here.
Yeah. You retired as an art, right?
Art, yeah, GS 13, art, so that's a great way to extrapolate your career. Because if you go active duty, you got to do, unless you make journal, you have to I think an 05, a lieutenant colonel, you got to retire with 28 years of service, right? That's your maximum service.
You retired at the age limit, right?
Yeah, 56. Because you can, as a technician, you can extend it because of your federal career. It's a weird, convoluted process. But if you want to fly fighters as long as possible, this program allows you to stay in the cockpit until you're, like me, older. And oh yeah, you're right. Well, the neck and back are what the key there, and then you start losing, numbness, tingling in your arms or whatever, down your legs. Doing BFM with an F-22 Raptor is fun, but it can hurt you a little bit. So that's the problem with flying a big parachute in your back and the G's. So you got to be careful. Take care of yourself, be healthy. Drink water. I don't know, but lift weights, drink some water. Have a cup of water now and again. Monster energy drinks, I guess. So,
what is your scariest, other than the pop canopy? What is your scariest story in an aircraft?
It would have to be. I was in area of Bentwaters in United Kingdom. We were doing a live fire demonstration with HEI rounds, the live HEI rounds for some British VIPs. And I shot the gun. It didn't sound right. It sounded kind of funny. Just something was off. Have you ever had a gun misfire in the F-16? Nothing. No. Okay. So the gun, fires. It sounds weird. Something doesn't sound right. No bang or anything like that. But just something doesn't sound right. But I pull off the target and I get a gun on emergency or master caution, gun on safe flight. Like, okay, something didn't sequence properly. It's probably just it's a sensor. I think it's a sensor problem. So I rejoin my lead. We go back to Bentwaters and the weather. It's IFR, so I have to do a PAR approach. So okay, we break up. We're doing our own approaches and. I put my gear down and what's that beeping noise? There's some beeping noise. What's going on? And I look down, the nose gear is unsafe. And I got two mains. And then I realized my gun has exploded or something happened my nose wheel with the gun. So I go around, come out of the weather. My gear's hanging, but my nose gear is stuck up or it's partially out, but it's not, yeah. And my lead rejoins on me. We start going through the checklist, call this off. Okay, what's the, you go through the chain of events on your checklist. Okay, try recycling, doesn't work. Try this, try that. And so we're kind of orbiting. I got gas right now. I'm not low on gas yet, or too low yet. And so at one juncture, I'm talking to soft and I recycle. I try it again, and hydraulic fluid starts coming out. The guy chasing me says, "Dude, you're spewing hydraulic fluid out. If you lose hydraulic fluid, that's bad." So I immediately, you can isolate the hydraulic system in the A10 down here on the pedestal. So I pull that switch, and that stops the hydraulics bleeding out. But now I've got low hydraulics on one side. I'm like, this ain't good. You start getting so this ain't good. This is not going well. And I started saying, how's my gas doing? And now it's getting a little bit lower. And I asked the soft, hey, can you launch the alert tanker so I can get some gas? No such thing. There's no alert tanker on standby. So, I started thinking about having to punch out. I'm not going to land the airplane with just two mains. You'll flip, who knows what. It wasn't a landable configuration, or from my recollection. So I was going to go over the North Sea and punch out, or the Channel and punch out like the Brits did in Battle of Britain. God, and that's not good. That's nasty.
Wow.
But so we're kind of like still debating what to do next, and I finally, I'm going to give it one last shot. And so I climb up to 10,000 feet. I zoom the airplane down, the hog zoom the airplane, just max as best I can. I get to like 350, and then I reef the nose back, and the nose gear comes down and locks out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I was the happiest guy in the world then. I'm like, I got three green, yeah. And it was like, yay, victory, I'm going to live. So now I come back to land, and every fire truck is out on the airstrip ready for me to do something crazy. I land the airplane and I set the nose down, and it was very shaky, but it stayed up. It didn't do anything funny, but I got the airplane stopped, shocked, got out, and I look in the nose gear bay where the gun goes through, and it was all black and burned. A shell had exploded, an HDI shell had exploded. So, as the gun, gets shells, the primer hits the primer, and this shell it delayed. So it came out of the chamber and exploded outside the chamber. And that's what jammed my nose gear up. So kind of Achilles heel of the A-10. There's been a couple recently. The guy landed gear up at Battle Creek, I think. Remember that a few months ago? Mm-hmm. The guy bellied it in. He had same thing. His gun jammed his gear system. So it's happened a few times. It's kind of, again, and they weren't going to fix it by putting something other into. They weren't going to put more money into it, but it was just sort of a known defect. Hey, this can happen to you. And I got lucky that day. Really lucky. Good people all around. The airplane, the A-10 is like a Tonka toy. It's such a great airplane. Triple redundant flight control system, self-sealing fuel tanks, armor plating in the key areas, bulletproof canopy in the front. Pretty neat stuff. I was an FCF pilot, so I had to play with all the toys. You could disconnect flight controls. You could manual reversion. That was pretty impressive there. So the A-10, built to take hits, but that's what it's there for. You're in the fight, man. You don't want to have to leave the fight because you got one golden BB take you out. Yeah.
Well, what advice do you have for an aspiring A-10 pilot?
Aspiring A-10, first of all, aspire to be a pilot first. Okay, I know guys. I've seen guys who are just, I want to be a Viper guy. I want to be a Viper guy. I want to be this guy. Okay, son or sir, ma'am, just go be a pilot. If you're that good, you're going to be a fighter pilot. Okay, and I don't want you to get there and be if you get through pilot training, maybe you don't do so well, maybe something doesn't go right for you. We still need you to be a pilot, and maybe you can be a great C-17 pilot or C-5 pilot or 130 driver. That was my favorite airplane was a C-130. I love the Herc, down and dirty. But I think the key is to set your, have your goals, set your sights on what you want to do. Don't get dissuaded. Every day is another day. But as I say, stay clear of bad influences. I know today in this world, and you've mentioned on your channel many times, your social media, your persona of what you put out to the public. You got to be cognizant, because they nowadays, I guess they go back and they look at your file, they look up your, what you've been doing, and if you have stupid stuff on your YouTube channel or personal channel, They're going to go, we going to trust you with an F-22 Raptor that costs like 150 million bucks a copy? Again, it's all subjective. So the thing is, obviously do your best every day. If you're not the smartest kid, don't worry about that. Still strive, to be the best, get the best grades you can, and then show that enthusiasm, which you have to have. You have to have enthusiasm. I mean, my professor of aerospace studies, he saw that I had that drive. I didn't test as well on the whatever it is, AFOPT, but I got through it. I'm not good at test taking, if you will, but and you will do fine. You will do fine. For Guard and Reserve units, I was on the board at AFRC for an at-large hiring, and I got to review many resumes, many jackets, if you will, and that's a good program. If you want to be, the at-large board, are they doing those mover now? The at-large board still?
They actually are. We just hired a whole bunch to go to the F-35, which was weird.
Really?
We don't have the F-35, yeah. So AFRIC hired them with the promise of going to the F-35. So the 301st hired them to go to Alaska. It's a weird thing, but
okay.
I think we hired 4 or 5.
Yeah, yeah, that's cool. The key, of course, and I know you got good crosstalk, is for all you youngins who want to be fighter pilots. Keep the communication going. Ask questions. Go to the website. Find the answers you want. If you didn't find the answer you want, I understand there's a lot of questions about: am I physically qualified? Am I medically qualified? Again, let the docs tell you no, but then find that way to say, can I get a waiver? Obviously some things are just unwaiverable. But keep trying as best you can. Who knows? Maybe they're going to have something change in the regulations. Where I remember back in my day, you couldn't have LASIK. If you can't pilot with LASIK, they kicked you out. Now it's like, yeah, come on in, you got LASIK, you're good to go. And just continue that every day as you walk down that path. And then for kids who are targeting Guard and Reserve units, that's tough. I mean, you're competing for. It's like the Heisman Trophy. It's like you haven't played a day on the field, and you're looking for the Heisman Trophy. Here you go. Here's your trophy. Oh, hope you do good. So they have to look at you and that's why they want flight time. They want some experience behind you, and that you might need to meet 2 or 3 boards to first show you're really wanting to do that, and to make sure that you're a right fit for the squadron. So don't get dissuaded. Always, even if you get to the phone call saying thanks but no thanks, just be generous. Say, hey, I really thank you for your time, sir, or ma'am, whatever. And when can I apply again? Like, hey, this guy really he means So and try to get exposed to as much as you can about the flying environment. If you can take flying lessons, that helps, I think. And granted, it's expensive. But if you can find a way to go work at your local airport, wash airplanes, do something, kind of scrape for flying time, that's a good thing to do. I'm not a big proponent of Civil Air Patrol, but if that's something you want to do, go and do it. I mean, it gives you a little sense of the Air Force, maybe a little bit, and you get some flight time, do it. Have fun.
Awesome. Well, Skid, amazing. Just amazing story. You've had an amazing career. Do you have time for about 15 minutes of Q&A from the kids at home?
Please.
All right, kids at home, probably mostly adults by now. Here's the first question. Look how high speed I am now. I can put it on the screen. You like that? Check that out. For Skid, how much time do you spend training CSAR versus CAS versus FAC, and which did you enjoy the most?
That is a great question. Wow. Who is this person?
I know. Right out the gate. I'm just like,
wow. Okay, see, I love CSAR. I love CSAR. I was a Sandy 2, I think, and the best mission in the A-10 is Sandy 3, supporting the helicopter rescue, and it's called hover cover. When you're down low with the A-10, the helicopter's picking up the survivor, and you're circling the helicopter, shooting the gun at enemy targets. It's called hover cover, daisy chain.
Wow.
And your fangs come out, and you're killing bad guys who are trying to kill your good guys. It's like Cowboys, it's a very rewarding mission. So I love CSAR. because you're trying to bring home the down pilot, down Navy, whoever, the down missing airman, whoever. Bring them home. Bring home a lot. I love that mission. Your buddy, your guy last week, the PJ. Uh,
Yeah.
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 So
And CSAR being combat search and rescue for those
combat
that,
search and rescue.
yeah.
Yes. CAS is where it's at. The bread and butter of the A-10 mission. Down in the weeds. I love when you're talking to a ground fac, a JTAC now, and you got a target line, you're coming in low and you're popping, he sees you, you're cleared hot. That's those two best words are cleared hot. Means you're cleared to shoot the gun. And you dispense your justice, you employ your weapon, and and he gives you good hits too, same target hit.
Awesome.
And it's just it's great. The FAC mission, I love FACing because you're out there, with an A-10 with gun and rockets, and very rewarding. Putting fast movers on, so to speak, on targets, that they can't see or identify readily. So you roll in first, you use Willie Pete, mark the target. I'm off. Here comes a Viper at 500,000 miles an hour. And he drops his mighty bombs and he goes, bingo. I'm bingo. Go get some more bombs. I'm going to stay here for a while in orbit while you get more gas and bombs because I can do that in the A-10. Yeah, I mean the mission again, the A-10, the CSARs, you do that rarely, do it occasionally for training. You go do WIC support, weapon school support. That's always a fun mission because you go up to Nellis and you get to go on the ranges and have some really fun up there. But CAS is where it's at, bread and butter. 2-ship, 4-ship. Doing dropping bombs. Like yes. Yeah. Good question. Very good question.
This is not a question. This is, I applied, but never understood what it took to be in the military until later. Happy for you. So thank you.
Thank you.
Doug wants to know if we've ever been in the same airplane. No, but we have been in the same formation. You took me out to, was it 470? Did we go to 470? All I remember was Skid has 2 throttle positions, just like the A-10. Mill and idle. There is no in between. We get there. That was awesome. It was a lot of fun. We went fast.
Yeah, that's the thing about 38. You go really fast, and it's I mean, if you have extra gas, use it. Don't come back with extra gas because it just stays in the tank.
Yeah. Ken, did you ever go to Red Flag? You ever do a flag?
Never did Red Flag. Did Hope Thunder in Alaska in the 117 stealth fighter. And I was, I've done copper flags and green flags, of course, but never got to do the actual red flag experience because when it was really going strong, I was over in Europe, and then the 117, we did those back from Holloman. So I mean, I might have played in one, but not the full Monty, if you will.
Yep. Awesome. You didn't deploy in the F-117, right? There was no.
No, we got ginned up a couple times. We got the war order. Hey, you're spending up to go to something. And then we were like basically they were rattling the saber, and right before we get ready to go, they shut us down. And just as I left the 117 to go back to the A-10, they finally deployed them, for real, to Kuwait. And these guys flew nonstop from Holloman Air Force Base, nonstop, 18.2 hours logged, nonstop from Holloman Air Force Base to Kuwait, to Al Jaber, nonstop. So these guys, amazing we didn't lose an airplane. They all were barely alive when they got there because they're out of gas, out of oil in the engines, or basically, all the pillow packs are full. But to their credit, they did a single seat, 18.2 hour sortie nonstop.
Oh no!
And I got to miss it. No, thank you.
No, thank you. Was it hard to refuel?
The 117, yeah, because you had a roof over your head. So on a day, full moon night, not too bad. But on a pitch black night with a roof over your head, you had to kind of duck down to see the tanker lights. So it could be challenging.
Is the hog easy because it's all in front of you?
Oh yeah, it's you just don't. The biggest thing is don't stare at the boom. Don't chase the boom. You fly to you get to your sight picture. Put the nacelles up in here. I guess you get to a point, and then the boomer, of course, will once he sees you're stable, he'll and it's easy. And then you just keep the green apple in your sight. And the A-10 as it gets heavier, you're going your max power, and you could fall off the boom because you don't have enough thrusties. So you'll ask the tanker to toboggan, which is a slight descent, so you can stay on the boom. Wow. 50, 100 feet per minute, just descent rate, and that gives you just enough oomph to stay on the boom.
Did you ever use the max power switches?
Okay, those are override switches, which give you 15, the book said 15 to 25% more thrust, and you're only supposed to use it for emergency, like you lose an engine, you need extra thrusties, because now your T5s, or you're canceling your T5s, which are fuel governing. I never had to do it for real. You do it in the sim, of course. But in theory, it was your mini afterburner, in theory. But you'd burn up the motors doing it, of course. So,
Psych Prof, I think that might be. I don't think we want to talk about threats. Yeah, that's a little bit into the. What are the copper and green flags?
Copper, the different flags for different events. Like I think green flag is CAS, big CAS Army support program. Copper flag was more of I think a electronic warfare exercise, right? You have blue flag, you have red flag, which is the big kind of World War III scenario. So we have checker flag down here at Tyndall. I think they still do checker flag to what they're trying to do is they're trying to integrate different units and assets for these war games, if you will. So you get together for a couple weeks. You get to work with your partner, your COCOM partners. Navy, Marines, Army, and maybe if they're doing out there, Navy, and Joint Maritime. It's a lot of fun. I did RIMPAC exercise out in Hawaii in 2012, and I got to spend some time with the Navy. Those guys, I love them. God bless the Navy.
Yeah, you got to come check out our Hornets.
Yeah, baby, you gave me your sim time. Remember, you gave some sim time. I got to land on the boat with you watching, you and Gonky watching. To me, that's just I love it. Oh, yeah, no problems. Give me a night landing.
No problems, no problems.
On a night trap.
Skid, it has been a pleasure. Do you have anything, parting shots before we end this? I don't want to keep too much of your time.
Yeah, I'm very busy right now. No, I can't thank you enough for having me on. I know it's been a strange year with COVID and stuff like that. I just tell people to, keep asking questions like you're doing. Don't let any setbacks keep you set back, and you'll find your way to what you want to do. If doors don't open for you, in a certain avenue, go different. Go if the Air Force is saying no, go Navy, go Marines. Don't turn off one service. I did that in college. I was at one point I had a Marine Air slot, and I was like, Dad, do I go Marines or do I go Air Force, or do I go Navy? I also wanted Navy too. And my dad, who was a naval officer, said, go Air Force. And that was the best call ever. Youngest service, the best facilities, the best airplanes. Love my Navy bros, but the Air Force is where it's at.
Hell yeah. Especially, reserves, the maintainers do such a great job of keeping those
incredible
airplanes. I mean, just.
Oh, yeah. The best maintained airplanes, the best. Oh, yeah. So if you can get that job, that's like winning the Heisman.
Yeah. Awesome. Skid, thank you so much, sir. It's been an honor. It's been a privilege. Happy to know you. Happy to have flown with you. It's just awesome, man.
You too, Mover. Hey, take care, and God bless everyone, okay?
All right. Have a good night.
Good night.
Thanks, everybody.